CIA smuggles drugs while Wachovia and Wells Fargo launder them and give the proceeds to the owners of the Federal Reserve Bank. Now the IRS takes money out of every single check. Money they created out of thin air and leave you with debt. They want to make you a serf, a slave to their demand. They want to take your life every way they can. Fluoride, GMO, vaccines, chemtrails, United Nations genocide. The world they show us is not real. This is how they kill and steal. Rothschild, Bundy, Rockefeller, Club of Rome. On the Georgia Guidestones written in stone. Cut through the matrix, awaken to the lies. Do not be hypnotized. We are one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very busy weekend, very eventful. Of course, Bill DeBerg and Harry Link of Death to New World Order here on truthbroadcastnetwork.com was busy bullhorning the elite, and you can see footage of this on UnitedTruthSeekers.com and of course here on truthbroadcastnetwork.com. And really quite a eventful weekend on that front. And of course, the elite got a little bit of they're a little bit put more into the mainstream, even if it's only a mention. Of course, they call the nuts or whatever, you know, the conspiracy theorists gathered at the Bilderberg, meeting. Remember, these elite who have come to do nothing but plan for their own agendas behind closed doors, clearly illustrates that they have an intention on something that they're working on together, collectively, that they don't want the general public to know. Now, it would be one thing if this was a corporation, one company, and this is a meeting of that one company to have a private meeting. But this is all the major corporations of the world, the major industries of the world, the oil industry, the gas industry, the automobile industry. It is literally a who's who of major corporations, and also media sources, media people, who have been obviously complicit in keeping the secrets of Bilderberg, because up to 10 years ago, Bilderberg was a conspiracy theory. It didn't exist. People were, oh yeah, you're crazy, you know. But no, that's really not the case. And obviously, it is real. They have a upward agenda. While everybody is out celebrating the 60th Jubilee of Queen Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, Queen Elizabeth of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, who has changed their names to Windsor because they don't want everyone to know they're German. And so it's so British. It's so British. It just makes me sick, all this. And it's all over America. It's like you'd think that we were in England. Well, we love the Queen and all that. Look, we have our freedom, our independence. Do we really? I mean, do you really think we're independent from England? I mean, everything is all about Prince William and Prince Harry and all of these showing all these. She's the queen of something like 100 countries or 14 countries or something like that, or some tremendous amount of. She's the ruler. With this smile, and then she's like, oh, and she's so sweet and all, and oh, the Obamas, and Miss Obama touched her, and it was big, oh my God, and she didn't mind. Oh, look at that, can you believe it? I mean, what kind of mind-controlling, mind-numbing, let alone controlling, but it's certainly bringing across a propaganda of a position that these people are taking. It really sort of sickens me, because what is this New World Order? We're talking about the Bilderbergs, And we're getting deep into this here. And again, this is Monday here. We're here Monday through Thursday, or I am. I keep saying we. I'm so used to having Vinny with me. And Vinny's been busy with other things that are important to the movement. And God bless him in his efforts. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to join us on Saturday. But Vinny, I got some news for you and everybody out in the truthbroadcastnetwork.com. Is that we had did a broadcast with Janet Phelan and Barbara Hartwell on many subjects: eugenics, CIA implantation of devices. Barbara Hartwell was injected with various microchips and stuff. I mean, all sorts of stuff. Terrible things they've done. These Nazi scientists, and it was an incredible interview and an incredible segment broadcast. But what was really impressive, and I give a shout out to ProjectFreedom.ws and Bobby K, who has us out on, it's a broadcast network, I think it's called, let me see what it's actually, the technical term of it. It's, I think it's talknetwork.com or something. Talk Network, I'm trying to remember. I'd have to look at the actually I can go here. That's a good idea. Yeah. Well, it was there. Anyway, the important thing is that we had reached a tremendous audience with that broadcast, and kudos to everybody. I'm really, again, not very prepared. I run in the door from work and to get this thing going here, but it's all right. I guess I could just chat while this is sort of important, because it's in what I'm about to comment on. I think is very key, and also at the same time, I think it is also humbling and certainly very rewarding at the same time. And if I could just get to where I'm going without crashing this computer, we'll be okay. There it is, if it makes it. Okay. Alright, I just forget the name of the network that it was on, and I'm trying to recall it now. The reason was because it reached so many people, and the ratings of the show was just, I mean, unbelievable. Here's where it was. TalkStream Live. I don't know why I couldn't think of that for 5 minutes. I'm sorry, everybody, but it's been a frazzled day. TalkStream Live broadcasts many shows in 55 different networks on 114 different countries, and this particular show, We Are Change Connecticut on Saturday, actually beat out Jeff Rentz, Alex Jones, and finished right behind Glenn Beck on 55 networks in 114 countries. So thanks to Bobby K. It's amazing work. I still can't even believe it. So this message is getting out, and Bobby is we're reaching out to many people through this network. So every Saturday his show reaches a lot of people, and I'm going to try to coordinate efforts for more intercoordination if I can, when I'll talk to Harry here at Truth Broadcast Network to see if we can get some more of these shows out through his very wide and reaching network. God bless you all, especially Bobby K. Thank you so much. I still can't believe it. It's on record. It's announced. I mean, I can't. It's untold amounts of people. I mean, you can't quantify it in people because there's so many networks and countries. But just by the weight of the shows that we were up in that league is just amazing, and I'm very very humbled by that. So we're talking about the Bilderbergers. We're talking about the elite. And all of the things that have been going on lately, NEM meeting, of course, this weekend down in Chantilly, where you can get, again, a lot of footage of this. But I was doing some research about this and the connections to various things, and in fact, you can go to youtube.com, Freedom First Films. We'll have a broadcast, a rebroadcast, or a archive of that of Saturday's show on We Are Change Connecticut. So you can go there again, youtube.com/Freedom First Films, and there's a whole archive of all of these shows, actually, including the Truth Talk News shows. So I was doing some additional research on the history of this conspiracy, which is exactly what it is, to more or less bring in a one-world government that's dictatorial, that's intent upon enslaving mankind, having the cream rise to the crop, and then the useless eaters to kill as many of them as they can, targeting DNA with specific genes and weapons, bioweapons. Again, I went over this on Saturday's show. It's unbelievable stuff. On the record from, again, if anyone doesn't know who Barbara Hartwell is a former CIA agent from 1969 to 1994. She endured CIA MK Ultra mind control and torture. Many horrible things. She was deprogrammed and thankfully came back, and is just a tremendous spirit. And I got to say, you know, all these people attacking her, like Timothy Patrick White, who calls me, and because Janet Phelan was coming on the show, and all of this, telling me I have my head up my ass. The only person that has their head up his ass is Timothy Patrick White, who probably enjoys it. All right, so just lay off the bullshit. You know, you're never going to fool me, Tim. Okay, we know who you are. I know who you are, and I have not been fooled. And unfortunately, you know, we're in a situation where it's like you have to, you know, take sides, and there's only one side, and that side is truth. And I stick with the truth, not disinformation, not confusion, which is what you do. So enough about you, Tim. I don't want to put any attention on this any more than I have to. But I was going over all of this stuff, like Giuseppe Mazzini and Karl Marx, who basically, this is a really interesting article from Arthur, actually it's by Arthur Thompson, who's the CEO of the John Birch Society. But it goes about the whole idea of the Communist Manifesto being sort of implemented slowly since the Civil War, and it's a very true understanding of it, going into the fact that after the war, great effort was exerted to retain advances to the point of forming a political movement of the Greenback Party, which contained many of the higher echelon communists. So there was this infiltration of communism many times. Communism has been around a long, long time. And in America, and a lot of people probably aren't aware of that, but the connection between Mazzini and Marx, again, these Illuminists, these Masons, big connection with Masons and in this whole thing, in this whole conspiracy. And again, that was covered on last Saturday's show. We went into so many things in 3 hours. It's like unbelievable. Probably one of the most informative pieces that I've ever done. Again, happy to get it out to so many people. But what we have to talk about, and since we're talking about the New World Order and the Bilderberg meeting recently, which is over, and hopefully Harry will chime in before his broadcast, which is at 10 p.m. here on TruthBroadcastNetwork.com. The World Order by Eustace Mullins is a work that I refer to on many occasions because it's so well documented, so honest, so really clearly written and researched, and it tells everything, and it shows how this network, this big spider web, this tremendous spider web sort of fits together, and it's a very important aspect. So I recommend anybody that they can try to get the PDF of the World Order. Now what we're going to be talking about right now is I was going to go into the World Order aspect, Chapter 7, which is the Foundations. go into the foundations. Now, the foundations, again, through this research, was basically through the Rockefeller Syndicate. I don't want to read it word for word, but going through a lot of it is there was a inquiry, or a congressional inquiry, in 1954, and the Reese Committee was trying to do investigations on the foundations, and the Tax-Exempt Foundations was asked by Congressman B. Carroll Reese, "Do you accept the premise that the United States is the victim of a conspiracy?" "Yes," said Dodd, Norman Dodd, director of the research for the Reese Committee on its attempt to investigate. And then said Congressman Reese, "You must conduct the investigation on that basis." And that is exactly what we have. It is a well-directed, quote-unquote, "The foundation world is a coordinated, well-directed system, the purpose of which is to ensure the wealth of our country shall be used to divorce it from the ideas which brought it into being. The foundations are the biggest single influence in collectivism. The 1975 report of the Rockefeller Foundation showed a $100,000 grant to the Institute for World Order, operated by Professor Saul Mendlovich, who states in the Institute publication Transition in October of 1974, "I am arguing for a new governance or alternative institutions to those that are now responsible for global concert. People will be demanding a central guidance system. It means a governance is about to come into being which the policy elites in various nation states who have the authority and capacity to make decisions will no longer have that as their prerogative. There will be a governance that will say, you can't build an army anymore. You must give a certain amount of your economic income to other areas of the world. In short, a world order." Think of the carbon taxes and all this other nonsense that these criminals are concocting today. And this is a work that was written in 1985 by Eustace Mullins, and we're referring to the 1974 publication, Institute publication from the Rockefeller Foundation. It's just unbelievable. In short, a world order, no national armies, no private incomes, no individual freedom. Ironically, all of this is being financed by those who created the wealth by the exercise of individual freedom in the United States. And that's key to this whole thing. They have built this entire system up, and now they are crushing it down. And it's true, and it's happening, and you can see it, and I can see it, and we know it's happening. Those that are awake certainly know it's happening. And those that don't, and that are listening and watching, I mean, how can't you see what's been going on? Crisis after crisis. False flag attacks, wars, endless wars, famine, poverty. All this talk about helping the poor, and just as though, as the way this Eustace Mullins used this example, because he didn't write that particular, this is a quote from Professor Saul Mendlovich. Just like we have this, these policy elites and these nation states controlling everything, we have the Agenda 21 protocols. We have all of these things, just like the Nazis slowly brought in this totalitarianism and created their horrors. They really never went away. This is bred from Nazism. Okay? And it's absolutely bred from Nazism. And you look at it, and these words, again, this is from 1974, quoting now Mendlovich does not use the word government, which might imply a governance by the consent of the people, as in the United States. Yeah, right. He uses governance, the imperial form, meaning a dictatorial decree. Every act of the foundation syndicates and their masters in the world order is intended to implement a ruthless type of oriental despotism. As is traditional in this type of despotism, the most efficient palace servants are eunuchs. Eunuchs work for little or no pay because they do not have the expense of rearing families. In the foundation world, we find the eunuch as the predominant type of official. The eunuchs move in and out of the foundations into prominent posts in government, education, and religion. Although they may marry and have children, psychologically they remain eunuchs. Those who have forsworn their manhood to become palace servants of the world order. Columnist Jeffrey Hart commented on this type, referring to Mondale's selection of Geraldine Ferraro as his vice presidential nominee. Mondale should have chosen a man in order to balance the ticket. Well, we may ask, if the world order is in control, why do we need an institute for world order? Why do we need the foundations as Gauthiers of the world order? The answer is the world order rules because it conceals its power. It denies that it exists. Although its power is obvious everywhere, in the government and education, in the religious orders, in the wars and revolutions and famines which are so meticulously planned and executed, the world order, like the mafia, refuses to acknowledge its own existence. Its subsidiaries come and go, but the order remains constant. When too many people discover the Council of Foreign Relations power is moved into the Bilderbergers or the Trilateral Commission, the order's control remains constant. The New York Times noted April 29, 1984, that 1,400 officials were attending the annual meeting of the Council on Foreign Relations. There were 21,697 foundations in the United States, which in 1983 distributed $3.4 billion in grants. These grants were dispersed only to those who implement the program of the world order, and whose goal is world slavery. The international banking families, whose origins go back to the Middle Ages, set up the principal American foundations to protect the wealth they had amassed in their dealings in slaves, drugs, and gold, and to perpetuate the wealth through means by which they can only be described as imperial decrees, government charters, in order to neutralize all potential rivals or opposition by controlling them and directing or misdirecting their opposition. COINTELPRO, controlled opposition. Exactly. I mean, everybody has to read this work. It'll change your life, reading this, looking into the way that it's described. Now, this isn't all, some of this is Eustace Mullins' own words in his research, but these are a lot of these things I was just going through were quotes. But again, this is unbelievable and absolutely true. And it's a great example of how it all fits together. And it starts working because this whole thing started through Skull and Bones, as I've mentioned many times. In the beginning of the show, the first show I think I did, or first or second, I did a segment on Skull and Bones, the Russell Trust Foundation in 1832. It is founded through basically a means of facilitating. First of all, they were also very much on the war aspect, the aspect of intelligence. A lot of secretaries of war and military and intelligence have come out of Skull and Bones. But aside from that obvious need for destruction and evil and using the death, the power of killing, the power. It's not the money. It's not the fact that they make so much money on war. It's also this magical power that they get, this energy that they get from it, this satanic power that they use, like a vampire would suck blood, like in all these popular vampire movies and TV shows that are on right now, okay, in this day and age. Now, these grants that were dispersed, okay, are all planned to control the population and bring them into these different things that they want. Like Clinton is now agreeing with Bloomberg about the ban on having sodas in that are more than 20. You can't have a 20-ounce soda in New York. Okay, I mean these people are crazy. You know, you can't have salt, and they can't use salt. They can't, you know, whatever. You know, it's all for health. It's all for goodness. It's all for this. Everything is all about control and for use of it, and for their own agenda. It has nothing to do with keeping the people safe. It really doesn't. And even if it was, what happened to personal liberty? If you want to live an unhealthy life, oh, you're a burden on the rest of us because you're going to have extreme health care costs and all of that. Well, who the hell are you to know that? And what is it your business? And why do you have to even put it that way? That's why they want to categorize us all and get us all chipped and have everyone know everything about everyone, so that if you go and order a pizza, they're going to say, do you want the vegetarian special or the meat delight? Well, I'll take the meat delight. Well, it looks like your cholesterol level's too high. that's going to be $45. But you can have the plain pizza, so you don't have to pay the healthcare cost, the healthcare surcharge. Okay, so you can get that for 10. Oh, I'll take the vegetarian, right? I mean, that's what they're going to do. And then all these other rich fat pigs will all be living like hogs, as they have always done. While they squeeze the life, and they squeeze the energy, and they squeeze the resources and the money from those that are just trying to get ahead. The middle class is being destroyed by these evil bastards. I mean, by design. It's serfdom. They've always considered us serfs. We are serfs to them, even the middle class. Even someone that's making $5,000 a week has got to worry, because these guys are after you too. Bring you to the next lower class, and bring you lower and lower, and put you out of business, and put you into bankruptcy, and bring you down a false path, and then everybody follows the path, and then they pull the rug out from everybody, and then, oh my God, we didn't know that was going to happen. We need a bailout now to save everybody. Right? That's what they're doing. They've done it twice, and people bought this bullshit. They're going to do it again. Europe, what else? Let's not digress, because this is real important stuff. And as I mentioned, the foundations were funded and started basically to enslave the population, because aside from doing all these programs that are tax exempt, they created the income tax. They created this whole Federal Reserve criminal crime syndicate that they have here, that takes property from people that without right. That is a literal Gestapo Nazi mafia cartel that works for it's a private corporation, has absolutely nothing to do, just like the prison system is rising in America, the private prison system. You've got how many prisons that are now owned by Corrections Corporations of America? I mean, it's just, this is what they're doing. This is how they're doing it. They're getting control of everything in a large way, little by little, phase by phase. So going back to the world order, the international banking families, whose origins go back to the Middle Ages, set up these principal American foundations to protect the wealth they had amassed in their dealings in slaves, drugs, and gold, and to perpetuate that wealth through means which can only be described as imperial decrees, as I said, government charters to neutralize all potential rivals or by the opposition of controlling them or directing or misleading their opposition. None of the charters of the foundations indicate their real purpose. They are replete with such phrases as the well-being of mankind, the elimination of poverty, the elimination of disease, the promotion of world brotherhood, compassion, caring, charity. These are all watchwords of the foundations. There is no hint of the unwary and despotic instincts which drives these caring people to promote world wars and world slavery, nor is there any warning to the menials of the foundation. If they falter at any time in their dedication to the goals of the world order, the penalty is sudden death. Many eunuchs who became a liability to the world order have been eliminated without mercy. When Hiss, White, and others faced congressional investigation, many of the acquaintances became casualties. A lawyer named Marvin Smith, a close friend of Hiss, fell out of a window. Ooh, boy, what a coincidence. Especially in the 50s. That's what happened to Frank Olson. That's right. CIA. It's actually in their CIA assassination manual. May I digress for a moment? I think the best way to explain it is to state it. This is from Secrets and Lies, a great book that I recommend everybody reads. A history of the CIA, bioweapons and mind control, and bioweapons and CIA torture. It goes over Dr. Cameron's insane work and Sidney Gottlieb, who was Barbara Hartwell's handler. I just can't even go into it, but when it talks about the specific thing about the best way to do it, accidents. For a secret assassination, either simple or chase, the contrived accident is the most efficient technique. This is, by the way, written by Sidney Gottlieb. It's incredible. For secret assassinations, either simple or chase, or the contrived accident is the most effective technique. When When successfully executed, it causes little excitement and only casually investigated. The most efficient accident in a simple assassination is a fall of 75 feet or more onto a hard surface. Okay, enough said on that. So that just amplifies the statement here from the World Order. Unbelievable. So Lawrence Dugan, an intimate of both Hiss and White, was slated to testify when he fell out of a 12th-story window. Dugan was an official of the Institute of International Education, of which his father was founder and president, but these families' ties offered him no protection. In his haste to get out the window, he tore off one shoe and left his office in a shambles as he fought his way across it. Yes, he wrecked his room before he killed himself and threw him out the window. He was in a mad frenzy. He took his shoe off. He tore off one shoe, left his office in a shambles as he fought his way across it. The verdict was suicide. Of course, just like when the CIA warned Gary Webb not to publish the last book that he published. He committed suicide too, Gary Webb. Shot himself twice in the head, found in a bathtub. That's a shame. First time didn't work, I guess, and he just shot himself again. On record, suicide. 2 bullet holes in the head. All right. The Canadian diplomat Herbert Norman and Harvard professor F.O. Matheson also went out the window before they could be made to testify about their associations. They love these windows. They love throwing people out windows. It's amazing, right? It's like, oh, they're so stupid. The people are such assholes. They don't know. Ha ha, we're laughing at you. And they are. The elite are totally laughing at the sheeple. At least I would think that they hate us all, but at least they're not laughing at us. We're a threat to them. Those that are awake, aware, and part of the solution. And that's what you need to be, part of the solution. That's why it's great that you tune into truthbroadcastnetwork.com here for Truth Talk News Monday through Thursday, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then Harry Link's show from 10 to 12. And all the other great shows that are streamed here. But you have to do something too. You have to take this information. You have to wake your people up, your friends. You go to work every day. I mean, who do you spend more time with? Your coworkers. Obviously you can't just throw this in their face and just, oh, they're going to go running like you're a nut. But slowly bring these little things up. Hey, did you ever think of this? Did you ever think of that? Did you ever think of how strange it was that building fell down? Building 7. That always made me wonder, There are ways you can do this so the sheeple can be awakened. I woke up a lot of people who are now like, wow, I can't believe it. And they get angry. And when you get angry, then you start to take action. Because, if you're just docile and everything's going on, then you fall into a state of inertia. It's very hard to motivate yourself if you're feeling that you're angry all the time, right? If you're feeling that, nothing's going wrong and life is just tough and this is the way it is and you got to deal with it, and you're not angry about that, then how are you going to take action? If you find out that it's just not the way it is, that's not just the way it is, it's by design, and they're doing this intentionally, and they're also killing us by putting fluoride in the water, and the food supply is poison, Monsanto GMO, you have, oh my God, the goddamn vaccines. Now they have a new vaccine for shingles, because if you had the chicken pox, there's a certain chance you're going to get shingles. You should get this vaccine so you'll never get shingles again. I mean, they're just out of control, Big Pharma. And the lies and the CDC is controlled. FDA, the FDA is Monsanto, head of FDA. Michael R. Taylor. John P. Holdren, writer of Eco-Science, eco-fascist, eugenicist Nazi, is our science czar. You have horrific things happening in our government that are behind the scenes. Scientific dictatorship. That's what we're under. These foundations are funding all of this insane Nazi stuff. This is the real truth. And that's why you watch it here, Truth Talk News. I mean, I can't tell you how I'm like really upset about this, because it really hits home, because I do know it's true and it's real. It's scary and it's very disturbing, especially when you then finally, you do the research and you say, wow, it's hard to believe, and then you don't just take this stuff in and say, oh my God, look at this, I read this and I believe it. Oh no, you have to experience it. You have to look at it and take both sides. It's just like when you understand a truth that you believe to be true and find it out to be a lie. You can't be a sheep that's led. You can't be a follower. You can't be a parrot and parrot everything somebody else is saying. Don't be parroting what I'm telling you. Research it. Research everything I say. I research it because I found it to be true. And I've researched it and found my truth, and you'll find yours. It's not hard. It's all there. It's very easy to find. But you need to find it on your own. And then you have your own viewpoints on it, but you always have to separate your opinion from the truth. And that's what we've been doing, and that's why I think we're getting the ratings that we're getting, thanks to great guests too. I mean, what else can we ask? Nobody wants to talk. Nobody in the mainstream media wants to talk to these people. Did you ever think about why? Well, I would do a show with them in a heartbeat. So this is crazy that they want to keep this information out, because it affects every single American. It affects everybody in the world, because this is the new world order. It's happening everywhere, in every government. All these governments are the same. They're all corrupt. They're all full of the same people. They're all controlled by this small group. This small group of people are pulling the strings. I think about it all the time. I wonder, how far the American people are going to have to be pushed before they take action, because they're far more dumbed down and far more docile and far more into their little, like little cocoon worlds of whatever that is. If it's television shows at a certain time, or soccer moms, or all these different activities and all these other, I'm so busy, and in whatever time I have, I got to do this and the other thing, and I work 40 hours a week, and I don't have time for this, and la la la. But I love my shows, and I need that. I need my shows. I need my shows. I need my this. I need my that. I got to go to the bar. I need this. All this other stuff. And listen, granted, entertainment is important. You can't, you have to have a life. You have to do things, have fun. In fact, I saw Chernobyl Diaries with my son and my wife yesterday. What a film! A lot of people said, "Oh, it's terrible." I mean, no, don't ever say that. I mean, it was done in a specific way, and I thought it was very well done. And I went to film school. I think I can give it an honest critique. That it was done sort of in the vein of being. It was low budget, because all the money really went to sort of the effects and the backgrounds and the sets. So they shot it on high def, and then they probably transferred it to film. That's how they did it. They probably used a big red 1 or a big red 10 camera, I'm guessing. But anyway, so then they had some very little like gory violence, which I like. There's a lot of psychological stuff there. But I guess because these people that I spoke to, they're mind controlling to say, oh, it wasn't bloody and gory, so I didn't like it. But it was psychological. It was about going to Chernobyl, this group of people going to Chernobyl sort of like a extreme vacation. And they just go there to hang out basically for a day. They're supposed to like go for a few hours. It's safe with the radiation levels. They have Geiger counters. But it turns out that there are like mutant animals, mutants and dogs and all this other stuff, and I'm not going to ruin the movie, but it was very well done, and I thought it was an entertaining, and it was only an hour and 40 minutes. I love movies that are, it's just long enough. These 3-hour epics, these, James Cameron and his Masonic message movies are just out of control with this 3-hour shit. It just makes me sick. Because you just like, it's just too long for something that you're following as far as a storyline. It's just too long. Anyhow, that's just my personal viewpoint. I like movies that are short, or I think it has more of an impact. It's just having this for the length, for the sense of time movie for the sense of time. All the best movies. Casablanca was an hour and 45. I mean, these are like, come on. you can make a movie that's, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be, Gone with the Wind, That's it. That was the point I guess I'm trying to make. It doesn't have to be Gone with the Wind. So, again, I'm very happy that things are moving along here with truthbroadcastnetwork.com, and we have a lot of stuff going down the pike, and also informedradio.com. We'll be having our servers returning, and again, I'll have to thank Project Freedom will be streaming us again, projectfreedom.ws. So again, at this point, I got about 20 minutes to go. I'd like to thank Harry Link, who'll be coming on from Death to the New World Order at 10 p.m. I'd also like to thank Pam Suggs of UnitedTruthSeekers.com, whose diligent efforts to get all the information out here and promote the shows is really vital to getting this whole thing to the next level, which is really just waking up as many people as we can and bringing it to the masses. It's nice to see that the levels are rising, and the viewership is rising, and the returns are starting to happen here as far as people are coming back and they're watching, and it's important. And this is what we're doing. I mean, we're talking about stuff that's real, that I recommend everybody. I mean, this is all researched stuff. I've done this myself, and I recommend you all do it. Again, we can go into this whole thing, but these benefactors, the Carnegies, the Rockefellers, all of these people collect ever higher taxes, increasing the control of government over every aspect of human life. Now, this isn't 74. You think, oh, you're crazy. All right. Now look at it today. It's out of control. S510, Food Modernization and Safety Act, Monsanto and everything, raiding raw milk farms, going after organic farmers. Plan more wars and revolutions to further their goals. From the outset, the American founders have exhibited a twofold image. Its front is the tireless do-gooder who balks at nothing, and it serves a good cause. That serves a good cause. It balks at nothing. Behind him are the evil conspirators who are intent on preserving and increasing their wealth and power. The Foundations in its present form originated in the concept of a Boston family, the Peabodys. Henry James, in his novel The Bostonians, ridiculed a family friend, Elizabeth Peabody, for her 50 years of relentless humanitarian zeal. Portraying her as the legendary Miss Birdseye, George Peabody, after slave trading operations in Washington and Baltimore, moved to London, where he set up as a front by the Rothschilds family. He amassed a fortune by buying up depressed stock in American panics. That's what they do. They're going to make another one, and they'll make another killing. And chose Boston trader Junius Morgan, J.P. Morgan, to carry on his business. In 1865, Peabody set up the first large-scale American foundation, the Peabody Educational Fund, endowing it with $1 million in government bonds. By 1867, this has grown to $2 million. By 1869, $3.6 million. Ostensibly set up to educate Southern Negroes after the Civil War, it was a key operation in the carpetbagger strategy to gain control of Southern lands and to control their state governments. These states had to borrow heavily from Wall Street and bankers to rebuild their services. Boy, is this hitting home. I mean, it's got to be hitting home. And if it's not hitting home, I mean, if it, then you have to really start taking a closer look and see that they're doing the same thing over and over again. Talk about this almost every show, because it's really almost every day. The Hegelian dialectic. They set up the problem. They offer the solution. And it always benefits them. It's basically it. They get the people behind this thing. Oh, it's great for them. Oh, yes. Here, in this case, oh, we're going to start the medical schools. Rockefeller's Foundation is going to fund all the new medical schools and medical technology and pharmaceutical technology for mankind. And then, of course, we know it's just the opposite. It's for control, eugenics, population reduction, and mostly population reduction and control on that aspect. There's so many more. It really is a spider web of evil, and it goes so deep that the average person can't really grasp it. And that's their hoping that the average person can. But you can get through. I mean, I've gotten through to some very, very what I would call, not well-educated, simpler-minded people. And in fact, these folks are smarter. Because when you talk to them and you let them, and they listen to you and they hear you just as a normal person, not influenced by this controlled education system, than a doctor who went to medical school who's arguing that vaccines are good for my children patients. I'm a pediatrician. I know. Come on. I read Cell and Lancet magazine, owned by Rita Zelvier, who also owns all the medical books and publishes all the medical books and publishes Variety magazine and owns Comcast Cable and a whole bunch of other things. I mean, it's all about propaganda. And it's real. It's absolutely real.
To choose our better history, to carry forward that precious gift, that noble idea.
All right, enough. I'm getting sick too, I know. Oh, God. Oh, what a freaking fraud. I guess you really have to keep going though. I guess just because I guess it's enough to point out how ridiculous this is. Now remember, all that he's just said, this was 4 years ago. He's done nothing. Now he's in a taxi oil company 6 months before the time for re-election. And then he's a lame duck. He'll do nothing. They are such evil doers. But yeah, let's listen to this guy's lies for another minute or so.
From generation to generation, the God-given promise that all are equal,
this is true,
are free, and all deserve a chance to pursue their.
Except now he can put us all in jail, take all our property away.
In reaffirming the greatness of our nation, we understand that greatness is never a given. It must be earned. Our journey has never been one of shortcuts or settling for less.
How do you know when Obama is lying?
For those who prefer leisure over work or seek only the pleasures of riches and fame. Rather, it has been the risk takers, the doers, the makers of things. Some celebrated, but more often men and women obscure in their labor.
Who you want to actually tax the most so they can't hire anybody with all these unemployed people. That's who he's talking about.
They packed up their few worldly,
the people that hire people.
Traveled across oceans in search of a new life.
Here's his horse shit.
They toiled in sweatshops and settled the West.
I love this part without the whip. Endured the lash of the whip. Gotta put that little black thing in there, right? Gotta endure the lash of the whip.
Normandy, and Quezon.
And then talking about all these places, Normandy, Quezon.
These men and women struggled and
like he's battled in a war, He's made a couple of wars. He's expanded wars.
They saw America as bigger than the sum of our
wars bigger. But we're sending the troops home.
The differences of birth, wealth, or faction.
We're changing all the profit, look at all the, they're going to reducing the military budget. We have to cut back on all the soldiers. Like that's where all the money goes.
Our workers are no less productive than when this crisis began. Our minds are no less inventive.
All right.
Our goods and services.
I can't hear him either anymore. I can't listen anymore either. Oh my God. And how people are in love with this man, I just can't even get it, man. It's just like unbelievable. Huh. Unreal. I just can't even get down to the reality of how people have been mind controlled by this Madison Avenue Slick Willie here. They slicked him up, they put in this good little package, they gave him a good legend, set him up. Incredible. Hey, speaking of the Peabody Foundation, we were talking about that. I figure I might as well finish with how the foundation started. And then, again, we have about 5 minutes to go here, and I'll go through the week. This is going to be sort of like a week-long segment on explaining the Bilderbergers and going through these foundations and the documents, and how they're using all these methods to, as I said on the previous pages, to control every aspect of human life. I'm going to refer to Rockefeller Foundation documents. I'm going to refer to other Ford Foundation documents, Rand Corporation documents. So this is going to be an interesting week, and we're going to have a lot of good stuff to cover. So in about 4 minutes, we're going to have Harry Link with Death to the New World Order here on truthbroadcastnetwork.com. But I'm going to finish here. I'm going to stop at a certain point but we're going to get through the Peabodys, and then we'll go through the Rockefeller Foundations and all the other foundations are covered here in this great work by Eustace Mullins, known as the World Order, the Homogeny of Parasitic. What's it actually called? The Homogeny of Parasiticism, or something like that. Parasiticisms. Yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, so the I just lost my page. I think it was over here. Oh, Peabody's, yeah. So in 1865, Peabody set up the first real foundation, as I had mentioned. By 1867, it had grown to 2 million. By 1869, 3.6 million. It basically set up to educate the Southern Negroes after the Civil War. It's a good thing, right? Very good thing. Okay? It was a key operation in the carpetbagger strategy to gain control of Southern lands and to control their state governments, which is what they did. These states had to borrow heavily from Wall Street to rebuild their services, and they remained deeply in debt for the next century. Because of the international connections, the Peabody Fund attracted a stellar board of directors. General Ulysses S. Grant served on its board for 18 years. Grover Cleveland served 14 years. McKinley served 2 years. Theodore Roosevelt 13 years. J.P. Morgan served on the board for 28 years and never missed a meeting. His partner, Anthony Drexel, served 12 years. A fund with a similar goals was John F. Slater Fund for the Education of Freed Men, established by John F. Slater, 1815 to 1884, a wealthy northern textile manufacturer. Set up with $1 million, by 1882 it had grown to $4 million. The 3 original trustees were President Rutherford B. Hayes, Daniel Coit Gilman, and Morris K. Jessup, who was the treasurer. When John D. Rockefeller discovered that the foundations offered the road to world power, the Peabody Fund proved to be his model. He and his director of charity, Frederick G. Gates, set up the Southern Educational Board, which merged with the Peabody and Slater funds. They later set up the General Education Board, which absorbed its 3 predecessors. Its charter stated that the purpose was the promotion of education within the USA without distinctions of race, creed, or sex. Its goals were racial amalgamation and the abolition of distinctions between the sexes. Its incorporators included its first president, William H. Baldwin, Jr., President, Long Island Railroad, formerly with Union Pacific, the Harriman Schiff operation, Frederick T. Gates, Rockefeller's right-hand man, and of course Daniel Coit Gilman, who was the vice president. Peabody Fund and Slater Fund president, University of California, president of John Hopkins, he was just like totally connected with this, and the first president of the Carnegie Institute, which was funded by the Rockefeller Foundation. At this point, I guess we'll call it a night. It's just going forward. This will be like an interesting thing. I mean, once in a while I'm going to refer to some readings like this. I think it's important because I think, wow, you say, well, I didn't know that, and now it'll maybe, spark some interest in everybody that's out there to get this and read these documents and read these books that are out there. There's many of them. I mean, I like to refer to this one because it's so concise, and it does have little sections where I can refer to it within 286 pages. I think it is the total document. Again, thanks to everybody here making TruthBroadcastNetwork.com run. And this is Howard Nema, and we'll see you tomorrow night. And now we have Harry Link with Death to the New World Order on TruthBroadcastNetwork.com. I'd have to like look at the actually I can go here. That's a good idea. Yeah, well, it was there. Anyway, the important thing is that we had reached a tremendous audience with that broadcast, and kudos to everybody. I'm really, again, not very prepared. I run in the door from work and to get this thing going here, but it's all right. I guess I could just chat while this is sort of important, because it's in what I'm about to comment on. I think is very key, and also at the same time, I think it is also humbling and certainly very rewarding at the same time. And if I could just get to where I'm going without crashing this computer, we'll be okay. There it is, if it makes it. Okay. Alright, I just forget the name of the network that it was on, and I'm trying to recall it now. But the reason was because it reached so many people, and the ratings of the show was just, I mean, unbelievable. Here's where it was. TalkStream Live. I don't know why I couldn't think of that for 5 minutes. I'm sorry, everybody, but it's been a frazzled day. TalkStream Live broadcasts many shows in 55 different networks on 114 different countries, and this particular show, We Are Change Connecticut, on Saturday, actually beat out Jeff Rentz, Alex Jones, and finished right behind Glenn Beck on 55 networks in 114 countries. So thanks to Bobby K. It's network.com. And really quite a eventful weekend on that front. And of course, the elite got a little bit of they're a little bit put more into the mainstream, even if it's only a mention. Of course, they call the nuts or whatever, the conspiracy theorists gathered at the Bilderberg meeting. Remember, these elite, who have come to do nothing but plan for their own agendas behind closed doors, clearly illustrates that they have an intention on something that they're working on together, collectively, that they don't want the general public to know. Now, it would be one thing if this was a corporation, one company, and this is a meeting of that one company to have a private meeting. But this is all the major corporations of the world, the major industries of the world, the oil industry, the gas industry, the automobile industry. It is literally a who's who of major corporations, and also media sources, media people, who have been obviously complicit in keeping the secrets of Bilderberg, because up to 10 years ago, Bilderberg was a conspiracy theory. It didn't exist. People were, oh yeah, you're crazy, but no, that's really not the case. And obviously, it is real. They have a upward agenda. While everybody is out celebrating the 60th Jubilee of Queen Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, Queen Elizabeth of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, who has changed their names to Windsor because they don't want everyone to know they're German, and so it's so British. It's so British. It just makes me sick, all this, and it's all over America. It's like you'd think that we were in England. Well, we love the Queen and all that. Look, we have our freedom, our independence. Do we really? I mean, do you really think we're independent from England? I mean, everything is all about Prince William and Prince Harry, and all of these showing all these. She's the queen of something like 100 countries or 14 countries or something like that, or some tremendous amount of. She's the ruler. with this, like, smile, and then she's like, oh, and she's so sweet and all, and, oh, the Obamas, and Miss Obama touched her, and it was big, oh my God, and she didn't mind. Oh, look at that, can you believe it? I mean, what kind of mind-controlling, mind-numbing, let alone controlling, but it's certainly bringing across a propaganda of a position that these people are taking. It really sort of sickens me, because what is this new world order? We're talking about the Bilderbergs, and we're getting deep into this here. And again, this is Monday here. We're here Monday through Thursday, or I am. I keep saying we. I'm so used to having Vinny with me, and Vinny's been busy with other things that are important to the movement, and God bless him in his efforts. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to join us on Saturday. But Vinny, I got some news for you and everybody out in the truthbroadcastnetwork.com. Is that we had did a broadcast with Janet Phelan and Barbara Hartwell on many subjects: eugenics, CIA implantation of devices. Barbara Hartwell was injected with various microchips and stuff. I mean, all sorts of stuff. Terrible things they've done. These Nazi scientists, and it was an incredible interview and an incredible segment broadcast. But what was really impressive, and I give a shout out to ProjectFreedom.ws and Bobby K, who has us out on. It's a broadcast network. I think it's called. Let me see what it's actually the technical term of it. It's. I think it's talknetwork.com or something. Talk Network. I'm trying to remember. Amazing work. I still can't even believe it. So this message is getting out, and Bobby is we're reaching out to many people through this network. So every Saturday, his show reaches a lot of people, and I'm going to try to coordinate efforts for more intercoordination, if I can, when I'll talk to Harry here at Truth Broadcast Network to see if we can get some more of these shows out through his very wide and reaching network. God bless you all, especially Bobby K. Thank you so much. I still can't believe it. It's on record. It's announced. I mean, I can't. It's untold amounts of people. I mean, you can't quantify it in people because there's so many networks and countries. But just by the weight of the shows that we were up in that league is just amazing, and I'm very very humbled by that. So we're talking about the Bilderbergers. We're talking about the elite. And all of the things that have been going on lately. And them meeting, of course, this weekend down in Chantilly, where you can get, again, a lot of footage of this. But I was doing some research about this and the connections to various things. And in fact, you can go to youtube.com, Freedom First Films. We'll have a broadcast. A rebroadcast or a archive of that of Saturday's show on We Are Change Connecticut. So you can go there again, youtube.com/Freedom First Films, and there's a whole archive of all of these shows, actually, including the Truth Talk News shows. So I was doing some additional research on the history of this conspiracy, which is exactly what it is, to more or less bring in a one-world government that's dictatorial, that's intent upon enslaving mankind, having the cream rise to the crop, and then the useless eaters to kill as many of them as they can, targeting DNA with specific genes and weapons, bioweapons. Again, I went over this on Saturday's show. It's unbelievable stuff. On the record from, again, if anyone doesn't know who Barbara Hartwell is,
Agenda 21, bailouts, sellouts, Lehman Brothers, Goldman Sachs, false flag, terror attacks, Bill Gates, anarchism, New World Order, mind control, Bank of America stealing homes with cut and paste mortgage loans, police, state, taser guns, FEMA camps, land run, Monsanto rules the food supply while Big Pharma dopes your mind, prison system, puppeteers, foundations, fund the beers, fund the show us is not real. This is how they kill and steal. Rothschild, Bundy, Rockefeller, Club of Rome. On the Georgia Guidestones written in stone. Cut through the matrix, awaken to the lies. Do not be hypnotized. We are one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very busy weekend, very eventful. Of course, Bill DeBerg and Harry Link of Death to New World Order here on TruthBroadcastNetwork.com was busy bullhorning the elite, and you can see footage of this on UnitedTruthSeekers.com and of course here on Truth Broadcast